Welcome back to the League One Lowdown. It's week 2 of our transfer roundup. Just me, Sam, this week. As there's not been too much going on. Is the transfer window open? Is it closed? Nobody seems to actually know. It seems to be closed for this Club World Cup that nobody actually seems to care about, and FIFA can't sell tickets. But here for League One talk. So we've got this lovely new graphic this week. If you prefer last week's one, let me know in the comments. If you prefer this week's one or like any changes to this week's one, let me know in the comments, and I'll make them changes for next week when the transfer window reopens. So starting, as always, with AFC Wimbledon. So anyone with a star next to them is like the new ones. The ones without a star we covered last week, so we'll be going back over this week. So the only new transfer out of AFC Wimbledon is Josh Nerfill, who's joined Bradford City. It reminds me a lot of the Murphy transfer. Won promotion with Oxford United last year and then went to promotion winners Portsmouth. Did surprise me, this one. I thought Wimbledon would have been able to keep hold of his services, but Bradford are obviously a very big club, even at League One level. So I can see why he's gone there, but it is surprising. When you obviously get promoted with a club, you probably expect to try and keep your best players. And if they do leave, you're expected them to go to clubs that are destined probably to finish higher than Bradford are. No disrespect to Bradford at this moment in time, but he has left, which could be a big loss. He obviously played a huge part in their promotion last year. So that'll be an interesting one to see who they replace him with, but no ins currently. Next is Barnsley. No different news at Barnsley this week. A pretty settled week, because probably everyone is on holiday. I fully expect next week's transfer roundup and the one after to be a lot busier as players start to come back to pre-season. So nothing new at Barnsley. Blackpool made a couple of good signings and they lost, but they did lose Sonny Carey to Charlton. I went through the comments of Blackpool fans and he seemed to only have like a good 6 months in the 3 years that he was there. So Charlton have snapped him up. Obviously, Charlton promoted to the Championship. And two big names in, I suppose, for League One level at Blackpool. Fraser Horsfall, who had an excellent season at Stockport County, has joined on a 4-year contract, which was quite surprising, which is probably why he's chosen to go to Blackpool rather than stay at Stockport. Having a 4-year contract offers a lot more security to obviously his family and himself, which fair play to him. And then Michael Ihekwe joined from Sheffield Wednesday for free. He's obviously won promotion numerous times from this level. I think he's won it 3 times, and obviously most recently with Rotherham and Sheffield Wednesday as well. So that is a big coup for Steve Bruce's side, who massive improvements in defence so far, which is they've obviously lost Ofia, I think it is. He's gone back from his loan spell. So 2 really big physical centre halves. So I think you can see where Blackpool are going to be looking to improve next season, not only defending but also attacking set pieces as well. Them 2 are going to be a real threat. Bolton, Nathan Baxter, obviously we know, went to Watford, and Ricardo Santos joined Swansea, which wasn't announced. It was literally announced about 10 minutes after we did last week. So he is active fan of the club, and Gethin Jones were expecting to join MK Dons, if you believe the rumours. The only in and new one at Bolton is Sam Dalby, who's joined from Wrexham. Left-footed, kind of play that second striker role. He's much like Aaron Collins, who's been rumoured to leave as well to MK Dons. So that would be one to watch, because I personally highly rate Aaron Collins. But if you've got Sam Dalby, they kind of play that same role. So that'll be interesting to see if Collins does stay, which is looking unlikely if you believe the rumours. Sam Dalby will probably just take his place. But as we've mentioned many, many times on the League One Lowdown, they need a proper number 9. Moving on to Bradford, no one new out, but 3 new ones. Obviously, Josh Nerfill we've already covered, joining from Wimbledon. Joe Wright has joined from Kilmarnock, and Curtis Tilt, which was a rather surprising one, because we've got a Salford fan here at the deck. And how can I put this? He wasn't overly praising of Curtis Tilt here. I remember him saying that he made 3 mistakes in one game that all led to 3 goals. So that'd be interesting to see what happens at Bradford. They gave him a 2-year contract as well, which I think he's 33, 34. So he'll probably end his career there. A bit of experience at the back, but yeah, I think that's more of a dressing room signing, I think, rather than to play. Mason Bennett has literally about 9 minutes after I've recorded this joined Harrogate Town. So I'm recording this at 5 o'clock on the 12th of June. So any transfers that have happened after I won't have. Other than that, there's nothing else at Burton Albion. Cardiff City finally announced their retained list today. They still don't have a manager. They obviously missed out on Nathan Jones, who has played an absolute blinder with his agent. Forced Cardiff to try and probe, force Charlton into something, and now he's got a 5-year contract at Charlton. And Cardiff are kind of a bit screwed at the moment, aren't they? I don't see any new names linked with them or anything like that. 5 major outs: Yaku Maite, Kieran Evans, Jamulu Collins, Aaron Ramsey, who we looked like was probably going to get the manager job after they didn't get Nathan Jones, but he's gone to Mexico, and Anwar El Ghazi has left as well. Interestingly, Callum Chambers is still contracted for League One. I do expect a lot more outs at Cardiff this summer, and I do think that I do think they're going to struggle next year. Not having a manager in place, especially about now, is when they don't have a manager basically to do their retain list and what players he wants, what players they don't want. So yeah, I think Cardiff are in for a bit of a struggle if it is to carry on. Doncaster, no new news this week. They've had a pretty quiet week after a strong start to the window. Same with Exeter, nothing new there. Obviously, they've already lost Caleb Watts to League One rivals Plymouth and local rivals Plymouth. Huddersfield Town, Sorba Thomas left for a rumoured fee of around £3 million to Stoke City. They haven't spent any money. Sean Ryan probably would have cost him a fee. He came in this week. He had an excellent season at Lincoln City, and Callum and Jamie will vouch for me on that he was arguably their best player last season as well. So he's joined on a free transfer along with Harness and Ledson, and then Joe Lowe joined from Wickham on a free transfer, which again, they're finding value in the market here in terms of they're all free as well, and they're 4 players two of them could definitely play at a high level in Harness and Rowan. Ledson's found it a bit difficult, but it's probably an excellent signing for League One, and Joe Lowe was a standout player for Wickham at the back last season. So a really strong start to the transfer window for Huddersfield. We're obviously unsure on Lee Grant in terms of management because we've never seen him manage, but same with Kieran McKenna. He came to Ipswich, did an excellent job, and Lee Grant was obviously a coach with Kieran McKenna and Solskjaer at Manchester United, so same sort of mould, so that'll be interesting. But a really strong start to the transfer window for Huddersfield Town. Leyton Orient, nothing. They announced a pre-season tour to Spain. Obviously, my club, I am waiting for something to happen, but yeah, we'll wait and see on that, but nothing new. Same with Lincoln. Nothing new at the Imps this week. Luton Town announced 2 signings. One, Kai Naismith returned to the club from Bristol City on a free transfer. Experience at the back, definitely good enough for League One level. It'd be interesting to see in terms of if they play a 3 or a 4 next year under Matt Bloomfield. He has rotated when he was at Wickham. And then George Saville joined from Millwall, an excellent signing for League One to sit at the base of the midfield. It depends what happens with Marvellous Nakamba. I don't expect him to stay in League One, so George Saville is the perfect replacement for him. Mansfield, Kyle Noyle has literally just signed for them, which is why I forgot the star because I was in a bit of a rush to actually get recording. Kyle Noyle joined from Stockport, in and out last season, but a very strong I personally think League One left back. He was on my list for look at my club Orient to have a look at. And Liam Roberts joined from Millwall on a free transfer, and I personally think that's a really good signing. As a shot stopper, he's excellent. Had a tricky time at Middlesbrough and Millwall. Obviously, he had that incident in January. I think it was January with Crystal Palace when he's at Millwall. But a fresh start for him at Millwall, and I think he's a very solid League One shot stopper. Obviously, had that excellent season when Northampton got promoted, or got to the playoffs, in League Two. Speaking of Northampton, only Ross Fitzsimons has joined the club this week from Scunthorpe. That would definitely be a backup goalkeeper. He has worked with manager Kevin Nolan before at Notts County. Along with their 3 other signings, it's a really strong competitive start to the window, and you want to get your players in early. For Northampton, nothing to go on at Peterborough, same as last week. Plymouth, only Saxon Early has left. He went to Stevenage, and Bradley Ibrahim has joined from Hertha Berlin. He was on loan at Crawley Town last year, and while Crawley were poor, they had a couple of standout players, Kamaru Dora being one, and Bradley Ibrahim being the other. The other one has left to go to MK Dons as well, Russian Hepburn Murphy. So another signing for Plymouth, who still don't have a manager. It looks like they're going to get Tom Cleverley, who I personally think did quite a good job at Watford, and with the Watford merry-go-round of managers, to last near enough a season, he did quite well. Or a full season, sorry, he did quite well. So I think it's a decent appointment for Plymouth if he gets announced. Rico Richards has joined Port Vale in the only new in or out at the Valiants. Reading haven't announced anything just yet, just the 4 released players, but they're still waiting on a lot of contract renewals. Obviously, half their squad was out of contract towards the end of last season, and with the issues off the pitch that have now been, thankfully for their sake, been resolved, it looks like the goalkeeper, Joel Pereira, is going to sign a new contract, which would be great for them because he was one of the best goalkeepers in League One last season, and when he didn't play, you could notice the difference. When I looked at my expected points table, which I do use a lot, Reading are really low down in the table, and Joel Pereira was a big reason why they finished just outside the playoffs in the end. Nothing new at Rotherham United at all. It's pretty quiet. Obviously, they had a really busy start last summer, and a lot of the players will still be contracted. So nothing new at the Millers. Stevenage had a rather busy week with 3 in. Saxon earlier, we've already mentioned. Jordan Houghton joining from Plymouth, which I think is an excellent signing. Combative midfielder, promotion winner as well. And then you've got Kem Campbell, who was on loan at Reading last season. He's joined on a free transfer from Wolves, a bit of a flair sort of winger. So you've got a bit of flair and a bit of grit in the midfield. So 2 really good signings. And Saxon Early, I believe, has actually been at Stevenage before. So they will know, and Alex Ravel will know all about him. Good deliveries from the wide areas. So Saxon Early has, if he can stay fit. So they keep hold of Jamie Reid as well. They've got someone who can deliver crosses into the box for him to attack. Stockport, obviously, we've mentioned Noyle and Horsfall leaving the club, and they've got no new news to report at the moment. I think Will Collar also left the club. I think I missed that one. Will Collar has left the club as well. In terms of Wigan, Fraser Murray has joined from Kilmarnock for a free transfer. I did expect more from Wigan in terms of a start to the transfer window. I thought Ryan Lowe would want to get his bodies in early, but I suppose with MK Dons throwing money around, agents are probably using MK Dons to say, well, MK Dons are offering me this amount of money, I could go there. So I think there could be a lot of later transfers this summer just purely because of agents and using clubs like MK Dons who aren't probably spending the money we think they are. Because of FFP, I think they can spend 55% of their revenue, where League One clubs can spend 60%. So yeah. And then the final club is Wickham. Only Joe Lowe leaving the club. So that is your very quick week 2 roundup. Obviously, not too much to go on this week. The transfer window being shut, and I use that in inverted commas because it's not shut. Players are still signing, but they can't actually be registered until the. I don't think they can actually be registered until the next week. So I'll be back. Well, one of us will be back next week for week 3 roundup. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any uploads. We've got a couple of different sort of uploads coming throughout the summer, like when all the kits come up, we're going to be ranking kits, we're going to be ranking managers, ranking stadiums, so stuff a bit more fun, a little bit more lighthearted. So make sure you subscribe to that, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next video.